Got marriage envy? Okay, here's what I'm talking about. Whenever you look at Facebook and you see that family who always looks perfect, they're smiling, they look like they've got it together, and you think, wow, I wish I had that kind of family. I wish I had that kind of spouse. Well, sometimes you have envy over somebody else's marriage, but you don't know exactly what is inside that marriage. Sometimes things look perfect on the outside, but they're not on the inside. Do you want a more rewarding marriage? What do you need to know? Become a conscientious spouse. I'm Connie Durham, and I'm the CEO of The Extraordinary Marriage. And let me tell you, it's not where you start, but where you finish. When we're first married, we're winging it. We're trying to figure out. We don't know what it's like to be a housewife. We don't know what it's like to get along with another person where you're making decisions together in your marriage. And so we're winging it. We're figuring it out. But I've been married for over 40 years. I have 3 grown kids and I have 14 grandkids. I spent years in Mary Kay as a sales director, working with women, helping them understand how to build their business. And I'm a John Maxwell speaker and trainer. And in 2004, I studied the behavior styles and how we each bring particular personality styles into everything that we do. But when we're talking about marriage, you're talking about bringing 2 personality styles together. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Bringing those personality styles together and the challenges that sometimes we have. We have to stop and think about it. Well, I want you to think about a doctor. I like to say that doctors are practicing. Remember, I said, as wives and moms, we're practicing. Well, doctors, they're practicing. What if they are so smart, but they have no bedside manner? What if you're working with a leader, whether it's at work or at church, and they're a great planner, they're a great speaker, they're a great action taker, they are charismatic, but no one is following them? What's the matter with that? What if there's a person who is in customer service, and we've all seen this, and maybe they're a model employee? Their employer thinks they're great, but they have no patience. What happens when they have no patience? They're not going to give great customer service, are they? Because, man, that has to be like the hardest job, besides being a school teacher, the hardest job, because you've got to have patience with people. They come in, they're tired, they've got problems, they're in a hurry, and they blast you. You got to have patience. Now let's think about a marriage. And let's think if you are married to that friendly, social person, they look great in public. They look like they have it going on. Everybody likes them. But at home, they're harsh. They don't openly share with you. You feel really left out. They're not open. And maybe they talk too much and they never listen. So you think, do they really care? They refuse to listen. What if they are super smart? Your spouse is so smart, but they're closed minded. They won't listen to any of your opinions or what you have to say. And on top of that, they're unforgiving. What if they're good looking, but they talk down to you? They have a terrible temper and they are totally selfish. It takes wear and tear on your relationship. And sometimes things look on the outside one way, but the truth is they're another way on the inside. And sometimes before you get married, you cannot tell what you're getting. So this is what I call it, blind spots. We all have them. We have blind spots, things that we do that irritate another person, bother another person, hurt their feelings, and we have no idea about them. When you have these blind spots for years and years, you're constantly irritating each other, you're not lifting each other up, you're not appreciating each other, your marriage starts to become apathetic, mechanical, troublesome, and unfulfilling. I mean, the divorce rate is what, 50%? The divorce rate is 50%. So you have a 50-50 chance of making it in your marriage. What if you got 3 or 4 kids? You need to try to make it for the kids, right? But whenever we do become apathetic and, we're not being fulfilled by our relationship, we start to think there's no hope and we start to give up. it gets to where we have no trust in our relationship. Then there's no companionship. We don't support each other. We don't even have credibility with each other. We're surely not going to respect each other, right? And then there's romance. What happens to your marriage, to your life, to your relationship when the romance leaks out of your life? You have no romance. I mean, romance is good, right? We want to keep that in there. So, what causes this inconsistency in blind spots? This inconsistency where we want something but we have trouble giving and seeing and doing what we want. Well, we all have different life experiences. Now, like I said, I have 3 adult kids, and when they all got married, that is when I really started to realize that all families are not the same. It happens, fortunately, for my husband and I, that our families were very much alike. They were very much alike, and we tended to get along well. But when our kids got married, we started to realize all families are different. They have different life experiences, different expectations. And when you bring those together, they don't always match up so good. The next thing is we all have different values. As a kid, you're taught to tell the truth, usually, at least in my family were, to tell the truth, be kind to other people, be thoughtful, and all of those kind of things. To respect one another, to talk to people the way you want to be talked to. But all families are not the same. Sometimes in families, the parents tell you as a kid how they want you to behave, but then they do the opposite. And I like to say much more is caught than taught. So you could tell somebody what you want them to do all day, but they're going to do whatever you do. And so if you were in a family where it was inconsistent in the way that they told you to do one thing and they did another, yeah, that's confusing. And you're probably doing exactly what they did instead of what you hoped you would do in your own life. The third thing is personality styles. Literally, everybody has a God-given personality style. It's there from the time you're born. Think about a 2-year-old. Some 2-year-olds are quiet and they listen and they're not into anything and they do just what you want them to do. And another 2-year-old will pitch a fit if they don't get their way. Let me tell you, your personality style is inborn. You got it from the day you're born on this earth, and you'll take it with you whenever you leave the earth. Personality styles are very specific, and some get along great, and some personalities absolutely clash. Sometimes people are opposites, but that is not an end to your marriage. That is, sometimes if you can learn about each other, then you can learn to work as a great team because you have opposite talents. But I'm not going to go all into that today. So our upbringing determines our definition of right and wrong. What I believe is right might not be the same thing that you believe is right because it's according to how our parents raised us. And remember, you're bringing 2 people into a marriage, and now you've got to bring this in and reel it in together. Our personality style determines how we go about making decisions, how we see life, and what's most important to us. And because we're different, we all have blind spots. We might think we're really great and really congenial, really nice, or we might think we're a great spouse, but even us, we may have some blind spots that cause us trouble. The question is, are you willing to figure them out? Or do you want to just keep on having them? Or are you willing to figure them out? For me, I've become very conscientious of my blind spots because all I've learned as I studied the behavior styles and I started to learn my strengths and I kind of started to know what I'm good at. And I know the things that I have weaknesses in and how they affect my marriage. Now, when there's challenges too often in your marriage, and I do call challenges, that's like problems, but I really call them challenges because challenges I'm going to overcome, right? We give up and we quit trying because when things go too wrong, too long, too hard, we're exhausted, we've lost all our energy, and we just quit trying. But sometimes another point of view can bring everything into focus. Well, we had just finished our master bathroom, really just a couple of weeks ago. So I had people in and out of my house for 4 weeks working on this bathroom. It turned out beautiful and I love it. But we didn't finish up our closet because I kind of wanted to figure out how I wanted to lay it out for the best storage and shelves and all that kind of thing. So the other day, just a couple of days ago, actually, I got a shoe rack. I got a couple of shoe racks, one for me, one for my husband. And he was busy doing a bunch of other stuff. He usually puts things together. But I decided, maybe I'll take this out and see if I can put it together. Because typically, how I see myself is I cannot put things together. Too many parts drive me crazy. I'm a people person, not a detail person in that. So I see myself that way. But I did decide that I really like to have my shoe rack put together right then. So I thought, okay, so I opened the box, dumped it all out, and that's what you see right here. As I looked at all that, I immediately thought, I cannot do this. I cannot put this together. I'm not good at putting things together because this is the story I've told myself always, right? Maybe I didn't want to do it. Anyway, well, after a minute, oops, went the wrong way. So after a minute, I thought, okay, let me rethink this. Let me think about it. I see a lot of A's, B's, and C's. Maybe I'll just sort it out and then I'll see if maybe I could do it. So I sorted out the A, B's, and C's. And guess what? There was a bunch of long poles, short poles, connectors. And as you look at this picture, it doesn't look so hard now, does it? Because I took a minute to think about it and figure it out. Well, then I decided to take action because once we figure it out, we got to take action to get the task done, right? So I started putting this together. My 3-year-old granddaughter was in there with me, and so I let her put some of the little poles in, and so it really wasn't so hard to do. But when you look at those long poles, when you get one end in, then the other end it's hard to get them lined up properly. When you get one piece lined up, another piece comes out, and that kind of just keeps happening. Now, if you're in a hurry, or you're not paying attention, you're just not going to be able to get them lined up. You're going to get frustrated, irritated, and you're going to quit. But if you take a few minutes and you have some patience and you think about what you're doing and you're figuring it out, you can very carefully get those poles lined up, and it really doesn't take so long. But an impatient person would have a lot of trouble doing that. Our marriages are like that. When we're having troubles, we have to stop and think about it. We have to figure out what is causing this trouble. And sometimes when emotions get high and one person reacts to another person who is irritated or stressed or tired, then it just escalates and it gets bigger and bigger. And some people stay mad a long time and others just like they blow it off and they get over it. But it's important to stop and think about what's causing you trouble and then take action to get it figured out. So you don't have to keep living that, right? Well, guess what? I have a new outcome because I can put something together, and I did. So there is my shoe rack, and it's going to go in my closet. And it wasn't near as hard as I thought it was. Whatever we plant into our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become our reality. I want you to think, what have you told yourself? Maybe your parents didn't have a good marriage and you thought, well, I don't expect to have a good marriage. My parents didn't have a good marriage. What thoughts have you repeated to yourself? And now it's become your reality. You don't have to accept that. I want you to think about a beautiful butterfly. They just look like they were born that way. Gorgeous, beautiful, light, fluttering through the air, right? I love butterflies. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. That butterfly starts out as an ugly worm, a big, fat, ugly worm. And then it makes a cocoon, and then it stays inside its cocoon as it transforms, and it gets stronger and stronger. And then that butterfly, as weak and lightweight as it looks, it's strong enough after taking that time to figure it out, to transform, and it can push its way out of that cocoon, and it becomes a beautiful butterfly. But it started out as an ugly worm. Does that give you some hope? Becoming the conscientious spouse means learning to recognize your blind spots so that you can resolve them and renew your relationship. Would you be excited if you could do that? Don't wait until everything is just right. It won't ever be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. So, what then? Get started now. With each step you take, you will grow stronger and stronger, more and more skilled, more and more confident, and more successful. Can you stop and imagine your marriage, a successful marriage where you are happy, you are kind to each other, you're supportive of each other, you have each other's back, you love to see each other as you come in at the end of the day, you like to stop and spend time talking about your hopes and the things that you want in your future. So now, who did you think of whenever you thought, got marriage envy? Who do you envy? Who do you think has that perfect marriage? Maybe you need a listening ear so you can kind of like start to change your thoughts. What kind of blind spots are causing havoc in your marriage? You can't resolve them if you don't know what they are. And it may be easier than you think. What if you could identify those blind spots? I have a complimentary Fresh Insights session. And remember, I said that I've been married over 40 years. And I have to say, happily, I'm so thankful that it's been happily. But there's been a few ups and downs and challenges in our lives. And whenever we're having personal challenges, then there's always a few little challenges in our marriage. But we love each other. We're there for each other. We put God first, family second, and career third. Sometimes we get busy with our work and we forget what's most important to us. What if you could have some fresh insights into the challenges that you are having? Would that make a difference for you? You'll never know unless you take me up on that free complimentary 40-minute free session. Fresh Insights for Marriage. They can give you more freedom, more harmony in your marriage, more understanding, and more compatibility. I know that you want a happy marriage, a supportive marriage, and a marriage where you can demonstrate all the qualities that you would like to your children so that they can have a happy marriage and they know what one looks like. My name's Connie Durham, and I hope that there's my name down there, Connie Durham, and it's the Extraordinary Marriage. Do it now. You just got to put your name in there and your email, and then we meet up for a 40-minute, no obligation whatsoever. And I can't wait to meet you. Have an awesome day.